You're about to discover the City Mattress secret sauce. They're one of America's finest retailers, family owned and growing since 1964, and they sell much higher tickets than most mattress retailers. And there's a reason for it. All right, take out your pots and pans, open up the pantry, and get ready to remix the City Mattress secret sauce for your stores. Jason Goodman, head of business development at City Mattress this year, and the FAM podcast starts right now. For the first time ever, top retailers can introduce the mattress that's been locked away inside of one of America's top mattress retailers until now. Introducing PranaSleep, the ultimate luxury mattress collection designed by lifelong sleep industry leaders who set out to create the best sleep experience imaginable at any cost. Born from decades of industry expertise and real-world retail feedback, PranaSleep doesn't just sell mattresses, it sells satisfaction, loyalty, and premium performance. Now, PranaSleep is awarding these unparalleled products to a select group of top-tier retailers. Proudly made in the USA, PranaSleep mattresses are handcrafted in private factories by top-tier craftspeople, ensuring exceptional quality and detail. What sets PranaSleep apart? 100% natural materials, luxury latex, and the only machines in the world that quilt latex directly into the top panel for a one-of-a-kind, indulgent feel. Stand out in the marketplace with a mattress line engineered for luxury and crafted for those who demand the best. Your competition will hate selling against PranaSleep because nothing compares. PranaSleep, bring the secret to success into your stores today. Go to pranasleep.com now to apply.
Customers want to reach you as quickly as possible. And more often than not, that's through the phone. Actually, 71% of customers still contact local businesses over the phone. And more phone calls mean more leads. But it's hard to keep up while also keeping your business running. That's why we made Podium Phones. Podium Phones makes your business easier to reach than ever. It helps turn more callers into customers without increasing the amount of time your team spends on the phone. In fact, 1 in 4 callers choose to text instead, saving businesses time every day. Best of all, every call can be managed and measured right from the Podium dashboard, either through your web browser or the Podium mobile app. In one tool, you can handle your calls, texts, reviews, and so much more. Stop leaving leads on the line. Get started with Podium Phones today.
Welcome to the FAM podcast with Mark Kinsley. This is where the best in the bedding business get even better.
Let's talk about ravioli, Jason.
I'd love to. It's key to a mattress business, right? So I like to talk. People ask me a lot what the secret sauce of City Mattress is. You know, I'm an outsider, so to speak. I've only been with this storied company for the last couple of years. And so I get an insider and an outsider's view. And I kind of equate it. I have a friend who has a 250-year-old ravioli recipe. It's been passed down generation after generation after generation. And so I kind of think about, you know, how does that work? What is that secret sauce for us? What's our secret recipe? And so Jay Schiller founded the business 60 years ago, and he's passed the recipe down throughout the generations. And I'll talk a little bit about that. You know, I may not give every secret, but I'll definitely try to provide some stuff that can help.
Hey, if we can go into that recipe box and find even the ones that are like the pencil writing is faded. I mean, we want to hear as much as we can. But before we get deeper and deeper into it, I want to take a beat to tell people who Jason Goodman is. Many of you know Jason. Jason's been in the mattress industry for many years, spent 13 years as a vice president at Mattress Firm. And that was, you know, toward the end of your tenure there, whenever the company went public. You were the CEO of an auto dealership for about 5 years. And you have like built and grown businesses. I want to do a future episode if you'll come back. I mean, we're just getting started here, but I want to hear about like the events and entertainment business at Mattress Firm, because I'm so fascinated by like going to these giant fair environments and how that selling system works. So we may have to continue to mine you for information. But how did you go from, you know, that piece of your background to City Mattress and PranaSleep and what you're doing now?
Yeah. You know, I grew up in retail. I started back in the 1900s, you know, 97, learning how to sell furniture at Art Van Furniture. Was just a young kid right out of high school and got to learn there. moved on to Mattress Firm, where I had a great career, loved the people that were there, really got to do a lot of jobs that no one would ever hire me for. And I left the business, which, is hard for some people to grasp. They're like, wait a minute, you left the mattress business. I did for 10 years. I ran an entertainment company and then a car dealership, as you mentioned. And then a friend of mine introduced me to Mark Schiller, the owner of City Mattress. And I fell in love with the company immediately. I was always impressed from the outside looking in, but when I got a glimpse to look inside out, I was even more impressed. Not only are the stores beautiful and the salespeople professional, but the results that they get and continue to get year after year, decade after decade, are pretty impressive. And the great thing is, I don't necessarily think that anything we do is that secret or that special. I think we just do a good job of executing on who we are, knowing who we are, and kind of following that recipe, so to speak.
And the recipe is written down. I think that's one of the keys too. Like you talked about, I remember Sam Walton said he had never had an original idea in his life, but he was good at going and collecting the dots and connecting the dots and then executing on that. And it sounds like that's a piece of the secret sauce.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't make it 6 decades in a company in this business without having repeatable, replicatable processes that you can do, whether it's a sales process, an operations process, and they have to be passed down. But, the other thing is you got to take care, right? You got to, the secret to any recipe is being made with love. And I really believe that that's part of what City Mattress has succeeded, is because the Schiller family has loved on their people for generations. It started with Jay and now with Mark, and they absolutely love on their people. The most precious thing to the Schiller family is the human beings that work for City Mattress and PranaSleep. It's really, it's not one of those jokes of a family company. It really is a family, and you feel like it there. And, we all care about our work too. And so we want to make sure that the next generation of City Mattress is thriving just like the current generation does.
And I can add some definition to that because it was kind of a moving thing for me. I had a chance to actually go to the PranaSleep factory, and I love going into a mattress factory. Been in many mattress factories. Number one, it was the most beautiful mattress factory I've been in. It was well lit. The signage was laid out so that even somebody from the outside could come in and know where things were happening. It was clean. You could tell that people took ownership of every moment that mattress was being made. And I looked up at the ceiling and I thought, wow, what do those flags represent? It was really beautiful. He had all these beautiful flags hanging from the rafters. It was almost like going into a gym and being like, you guys have won a lot of national championships here. And I remember you told me, I thought it was places where you had shipped PranaSleep mattresses. And you said those flags represent the home countries of the people that work in this building. And I was like, I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, we've learned it from many different companies and many great leaders that if you take care of your people, everything else will be taken care of for you. And we try to do that at City Mattress and PranaSleep. And, when somebody who grew up in Cambodia and now is working in this mattress factory, we want them to take pride in their work. That's why we keep the factory so clean and organized and professional and temperature controlled. You walk in there and how many times do you see a Cambodian flag? Well, every time you walk into our factory, you'll see that. And that's important, we believe, for the human element of our business. And again, that love that really comes through City Mattress.
It's a beautiful thing. And you actually, so the PranaSleep piece of the puzzle is really interesting to me because you have factories in Buffalo and in Bonita Springs. So in New York and Florida. So you kind of cover that Eastern seaboard and that, services City Mattress. And I know that's been probably part of your secret sauce. Let's go to PranaSleep for a minute because something really fascinated me about PranaSleep years ago. I remember seeing this brand and I thought, this is a beautiful brand. And I thought it was just a brand, but no, it's not just a brand. You actually own the factories and you make the products and you have a mattress factory. And of course that supplies City Mattress and beyond. Yeah. But I was like, this is the only company I've ever seen that's a retailer who put together a private label product, but treats it like a professional brand, because a lot of people just want to have that contained selling environment. You can't shop us. You don't have that product. But PranaSleep, I noticed like many, many years ago, was the only company to do this. Like, what led to that level of professionalism around the product side and building that brand? Because a lot of times people are like, nope, I want to build my retail brand, and they focus on that.
Yeah. Great question. It really starts with an unwavering desire for the best mattresses possible. At City Mattress, as a retailer, if we're going to sell beds to our customers, we want to make sure that we can be in love with the brand, that we can have pride in the product, and that we can be comfortable with the presentation. We look through that lens when we're merchandising product, and we don't want to bring product on the floor that doesn't do that. So 20 years ago, we were looking for beds that were in the premium price points that would service the customer who wanted the best bed or the best beds that they could find. And we sought out, much like a recipe. Sometimes you can't go buy it off the shelf. You're going to have to make it yourself. And so that's exactly what we did. And we started off like many retailers might, which is working with the manufacturer, designing the product. Ultimately, we realized that we wanted control of the quality and we wanted to control the distribution of the product. And so we purchased a factory. And then started to develop our own product. And now, as you mentioned, we have 2 factories, and those 2 factories certainly service the Eastern Seaboard, but they go way out west too. They're high velocity and you can tell very efficient and factories. Although with being so handmade and high quality, it looks inefficient sometimes and it feels inefficient, but that's where you get, quality checks at every station. Again, unwavering desire to have the highest quality beds. And so when you can't find it, you have to make it. So we've made it 20 years and we do have some retail partners. And that's kind of one of the things that I work on now is finding new retail partners for us. We're pretty selective about who we partner with because the brand is precious to us and we want it to be represented the right way. But we do have retailers who carry the product both in the Northeast with Jordan's and in the Midwest with Home Furniture and others. And so we are very proud of the product, but it really stems from filling a gap in our merchandising plan on the floor.
And I tell you, from being a product guy and doing a lot of product design, I've never seen a mattress, I don't think they exist, where you quilt latex into the top panel. I'm always, as a product guy, I'm like, oh man, I want that really good stuff near the surface. I don't want it just to be story. I want it to be near the surface and give that sleeper that responsiveness that they need to like enjoy really deep sleep and get that, that amazingly buoyant, elevated feel, not buried down in the mattress. And I think you guys have the only machine in the world that can quilt latex into the quilt panel, which is incredible.
For sure, the only one we know of and the manufacturer of that machine. We actually have 2. We have one in both factories. But yeah, and that machine runs at about 30 to 40% speed, and we have to use titanium needles to get not only latex, but tallow latex in the quilt. The problem with latex is the same, that it's a double-edged sword. The benefit is the problem. It's very buoyant, and it can feel bouncy in some ways. And so when you lay on a lot of latex beds, you get this spring back effect, which is great because you get to sleep on the bed, not in the bed. But what we find through the quilting and layering is you are able to get that buoyant feel, the benefit of the buoyancy without having a bouncy feel, which gives it this ultra premium feel. When you lay down on it, it feels more like a traditional bed, yet it has all of the benefits of the spring-free story and the latex cooling and the breathability and really the natural story as well, right? Latex comes from a rubber tree. It doesn't come from a chemical factory. And so we are trying to pioneer and continue to pioneer natural bedding, more natural, healthy bedding, breathable bedding, more high-quality materials. If we do use polyfoam, it's got Certipure foam, so that we make sure that we don't have VOCs and off-gassing as part of it as well. And all of those things together, just, I have a friend who always likes to say the feel is the deal. And that is where all beds start. No matter how natural and how clean and great looking the bed is, if it doesn't feel good, it's not going to work and it's not going to have velocity at the retail floor.
And man, I can tell you, I've tried them all. For me personally, that Dharma Super Cush, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And there's nothing like it too, because at that level, which the Dharma I think is at the very top, you also are able to sell this customized slat system that's in the box spring. And so it's super cool. Like I actually tried it raw. Tried it raw, which was, I was like, I want to lay on these wooden slats in the soft position, let's call it. And then I want to slide those little mechanisms to the center to firm it up and see if it actually feels differently.
Yeah.
And it was so easy to demonstrate. And I felt the difference. So now whenever you send somebody home with that Dharma level collection and she wants something firmer, he wants something softer, you can do it right in the box, which is super innovative. And that box, which I thought was incredible, is inserted into the adjustable base at that level. So you can change the firmness in the base and it works with that wooden slat system. I just never seen anything like it except in Germany whenever I was at the IMM show.
Yeah. Well, actually, the slats come from Germany, so I'm not surprised. So, we believe that a box spring still is part of a mattress, and a lot of manufacturers have changed that opinion and have built beds that work just fine without it. But we like having the slat system because it does allow you not only additional comfort and support in your bed, but it also allows, to your point, the ability to change the feel. And we even display it 2 different ways in our store so that you can lay on one side of the bed and feel it, and then lay on the other side of the bed and feel a difference in that. It saves returns. If customers say it's too firm, you can adjust it to be a little softer and vice versa. So it's an important part of the sleep system, and it was a real pain in the butt to get it into an adjustable base. But we do have it, and it works well, and people are raving fans of it.
I loved seeing it from a retail standpoint. And I think this goes right into the retail cookbook, the City Mattress retail cookbook that we're talking about. One of these pages is going to be, oh my gosh, whenever you display it, you're displaying it as king size, because then you can have 2 twin XL boxes down below. One of them you set to soft, one of you set to firm. And then the person that's trying the mattresses can get a sense of how that truly feels by going from one side to the other. And boom, now you've got that, instead of having like 2 twin XLs, you have one system that works together, but with adjustable comfort. And like you said, your first call that you get, it's not exactly what I wanted. Well, at that moment, you could say, have you adjusted the slat system? They do it, and probably 99 times out of 100, they're going to be happy.
It matters, and it certainly helps with returns. We luckily don't get a whole lot of returns on PranaSleep anyhow. But when that customer does have a feel issue, that is a way to make that problem go away. And over time, your body can change too. And so rather than changing a bed, you can obviously just adjust the slats on the foundation or in the adjustable base. So it all comes back to happy customers, right? And we've built this bed at retail to be a vehicle to make happy customers. And you read City Mattress reviews and you read the what people say. They not only love the experience, but many of them mention PranaSleep. And that's really what they want to sell, or what they want to buy, and they love about it. And our salespeople love it because they can be proud of it. They know that it's a good brand, that they can be respected. The product is as well built. Whether you're a feel person or you're a spec nerd, you're going to love PranaSleep. And honestly, it's pretty easy to present too, because again, it feels really good and you have things that you can talk about. That's why we kind of like have used it as a secret weapon for many, many years. And it's just been recently where Mark Schiller's been willing to expand the brand beyond where we are today and looking for partners that can help us grow it and to, get more people sleeping on PranaSleep.
It's a rare combination whenever you have a retail-focused organization that's also obsessed with product and product quality. And, what we're talking about with PranaSleep, I think, if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see the retail cookbook slide that's up on the screen. If not, head over to thefam.com, search for Jason Goodman, and this is going to pop up. You'll be able to scrub forward to about 17 minutes and see this retail cookbook on screen. But I think the reason we spent so much time talking about PranaSleep is because it has been a part of the secret sauce, a big portion of the secret sauce, because of the way that a retail cookbook needs to be written so that you have a successful outcome, so that you get an amazing meal. And that meal in this case is, the slide up on screen is same store margin dollar growth. Yeah. Walk us through these slides, because this is when you look at the recipe book, you're like, okay, am I doing it in the right order? What parts and pieces do I need to get out of the pantry?
Well, right. This goes back to this question about what's the secret sauce, right? So The secret sauce is a number of different things. I look at it, if you take a step back, it's the retail cookbook. So just like any cookbook is designed, you have appetizers and entrees and desserts and some sauces and different things in there. So these are kind of the items that are reflected on the screen here. So ultimate goal is same store margin dollar growth. This is what any retailer, whether you're in the mattress business or not, this is really the number one key metric that I've learned over my career is so important. Same store margin dollar growth. Okay, great. How do you get that? You get it from balancing these four things, both the quality of sale, average ticket and margin, and the quantity of sales, the traffic that you get through your store and the unit velocity that you have. And then for those of you who measure conversion, traffic and units are just divided by each other to give you your conversion number. So when you're retail problem solving and you say, oh, our margin is too low, oftentimes we can overcorrect and we can raise our margin, but oh, now units are down. Okay, well, we raised our ticket, but we started advertising only to rich people. And so now our traffic is down. So these are the four metrics that you got to continue to balance out and find ways to drive each one of those four, which all then lead towards the same store margin dollar growth. We learned this as an organization years ago at Mattress Firm. Steve Stagner was the one who taught me this, and I think it's universally applicable across retail. So when you look at now our secret sauce, one of the things that PranaSleep has helped us do is the average unit selling price, right? So with margin, but we're not losing units either, because sometimes people come in looking for a bed with pressure relief, or they've heard of a brand on TV or on the internet. They come in and lay on it and they don't love the feel. So there's another option. So now you're not letting them leave to go somewhere else to continue that search. PranaSleep gives them an option that gives all those stories. So you're getting unit velocity, you're getting margin dollars, you're getting average ticket. And we believe a lot of return traffic because of it. We're not PranaSleep is not a DTC marketing company, but people, when you read about PranaSleep online, you'll hear raving fans. So those four things there's other things we do as well. Professional salespeople. We believe we have some of the best people, and we have an average tenure almost of 10 years for our retail sales associates. That, again, back to the love, back to the training, back to caring about your people, that keeps our people anchored. We're not constantly retraining. But we also have our training program documented. Nancy's our trainer, and she's been training our company for four decades. She is 42 years old, so she started with the company very young. But, her training is still the same training that Jay Schiller was giving back when he started the company. And so that retail cookbook helps us drive what our secret sauce is. And PranaSleep, as we've talked about, is just one of those sauces that we have.
I remember talking to a young man, enjoyed meeting him, shall remain unnamed, but he was with a competitor and he came to work for City Mattress. And one of the things he said that he was most excited about, beyond like the love and the culture and the things that he had seen, was, I don't have to sell against PranaSleep anymore.
Yes, it is. He loves that story too. And, we love that as well, because once the customer lays on it and they see it, they can see it's a professional brand. It's a great product. They understand why it's different. It is a higher ticket, so people think, oh, well, only rich people buy it. But the reality is, if you're earth minded, right, you care about the earth, if you're health conscious, or if you're quality driven, you're going to like the product. And it lasts a long time. The Dharma has a 20-year warranty on it. It's built with natural latex rubbers, and the feel is tremendous. And so it would suck to sell against that. It would be very difficult, right? So, and we know that. And again, it's kind of like, all right, we're taking our secret recipe and now we're putting it on the shelf. And we do kind of have a little concern about that. But again, we want more people sleeping on the bed, and we don't want to gatekeep it, so to speak, for too much longer.
Well, I have a feeling that you're probably not going to award a PranaSleep account to somebody across the street from City Mattress, but there's lots of country out there. There are lots of markets. And really, I mean, when you look at the economics of the industry right now, I was at the ISPA conference, and that's why I drove down. I was so close. I was in Florida. I was like, I'm going to pop down and see you guys. So it worked out great. But at the ISPA conference, the economist that spoke there, and you can go back and listen to my previous episode where we broke this apart, but he was saying essentially there are three different categories of consumer right now. Let's call it the middle third. Let's start with the middle third. The middle third is still spending money, but they're very conscious of where they're putting their dollars. So it's going to be put under a microscope or a magnifying glass much more, but they're still spending, but it's very measured. The bottom third, let's go to the bottom third. He said they checked out 2 years ago. They're checked out. They're defeated in many ways. He said the top third are spending money without a lot of concern right now too. So if you're looking at your merchandising strategy, are you going to continue to try and fight against Amazon.com and the low end business? I mean, that's going to change a little bit potentially with tariffs and things of that nature. But where I'm going to put my time, energy, and effort is to delivering on trend sleep products for the health conscious consumer, for the person that has a pocketbook, and for the person who wants to elevate their sleep, because it is one of the most searched terms in the world still to this day is around sleep.
Yeah. And look at the grocery store, right? Look at the amount of higher quality goods and more natural items that are on the shelves and from the source and single source and family owned and made in the USA. Those are things that are resonating with the consumer today. And all those things are the same with PranaSleep. And that's, again, why it helps as our secret sauce as a retailer. It is nice to have those things and to feel a little bit ahead of the curve on this, whatever this next generation of the mattress industry is going to be. Natural and healthy is going to be part of it, and the sleep conversation is going to be part of it. And we try to be radical about knowing everything we can about sleep and helping with that through the mattress.
We started talking about this recipe, the secret sauce for City Mattress, by mentioning your friend who literally has a 250-year-old recipe for ravioli. Of course, that had to be written down and had to be passed down generation to generation, and it had to be maybe refined a little bit, but kept intact. I mean, the spirit of the original idea had to be executable and repeatable. So in terms of looking at the City Mattress secret sauce that you're willing to share through the vehicle of PranaSleep, is that written down? Is there a playbook? Is there training that goes along with PranaSleep so it can be repeatable and somebody can make your recipe?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we are very deliberate about our training programs. We've had a learning management system installed in our company for years and have a number of different training programs that are on that. We do in-person trainings, and for our retail partners, we're continuing to develop new and innovative ways to train, including using some of the AI stuff that you've taught us about, which we appreciate, Mark. There is when you're selling a $10,000 queen size mattress, you need to know what the story is, right? There's more than just the product. It's much of the story. It's family owned. It's made in America. It's natural materials. Those things are important, but how you say them and how you understand what latex really means and, what is the benefit of this product versus this product, and how do I transition? Because we want to sell side by side. We don't think that we don't say don't have any other beds on your floor, only sell PranaSleep. We sell Heirloom, we sell Tempur-Pedic, we sell Simmons, we sell Stearns and Foster. We have a lot of quality products on our floor that we sell a ton of, because not everyone has the same palate, so to speak, to this recipe metaphor, but you got to have the different things for different people. A restaurant has a number of different options. And so we like to have that option at PranaSleep, and definitely have a lot of training associated with it.
That's so key. I mean, sometimes people feel like they're running a training organization because of churn in this business. And I think what you said in the very beginning about loving on the people at City Mattress is so key, because people staying around like Nancy, at 42 years, that compounding effect of not having to transfer institutional knowledge every time somebody comes on board because they've been there for so long, man, that just has an amazing effect on a business, on a culture. And you don't have to run a training organization all the time. So anything you can do to make your people happy and keep them around. Congrats to City Mattress on finding that recipe.
Well, I'll quickly say too, think about the recipe. It's written down, right? Maybe Nona can make that recipe from her head. She's been doing it for 65 years. But as you start to make your recipe, as you start to develop your secret sauce, you should write the recipe down and you should tweak it, to your point. Now, if you do it for 60 years, you probably have it pretty well tweaked, except you don't, because other things change too. So we have constantly we just re-evolved our sales process at City Mattress to be a more modern day nonlinear sales process that allows people to be themselves, but yet still hit the important parts of the sale that is so important for the retail customer in today's landscape, which is different than it was 60 years ago. Heck, it's different than it was 6 years ago. So you have to constantly evolve that recipe as well. But having it written down and understanding it wasn't as good this time. Well, I did it from memory. I didn't measure. I put too much butter in it, or I didn't put enough butter in it. And when you go back to the recipe and you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a cup and a half, not a cup. I haven't been measuring it for so long, I forgot. Well, that's just like a retail sales associate who's been selling for 25 years and forgets to make a connection with the customer, forgets to tell the story. What is the story of City Mattress? What's the story of me, Jason? Why do I like working here? And so sometimes those things get forgotten. That's why the recipe card is so important. And that's why I like this metaphor, the retail cookbook that has average ticket and margin and traffic and units driving to this perfect meal, which is same store margin growth. The same thing is true in the store. So if you don't have your sales process written down, write it down. Get the common language of your people. Don't force them into someone else's sales process. Identify your sales process and write it down, refine it, and make sure it lasts throughout the generations.
And there's so many stores that you go into across this country right now. Do you have a sales process? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 100%. Do your people know it? Absolutely. Is it written down? No.
Nope. And then you secret shop them and you realize your perspective is a little different than what reality may be. So I just think it's important. There's a lot of great cooks that can cook from their head. But if you want a repeatable, replicable process and results for your customer, they need to be cooking off of a recipe. And your recipe.
Your recipe. So Tara, my wife, is a really good cook. I brag on her, but she's a really good cook. And she has a chili recipe. And so every year we do a chili cook-off, and she wins every year. And it's like not even fair. And so we had a friend one year that was in a vegetarian or a vegan stage, but he had been doing it for a couple of years. And they were having a chili cook-off at his kid's school. And I think there ended up being like over 100 chili recipes get entered. And so he went to Tara and he goes, I want your chili recipe. So as a vegan, it had meat in it. It had meat, it had bacon, it had some other things. So she put her chili recipe down on paper, and he went to the chili cook-off at the school with all these entrants, and he won it with Tara's recipe.
That's awesome.
So if you write down your recipe, and he didn't even get any instructions, she just wrote it down very clearly and step by step, and it was easy to understand so that he could replicate it, the power of writing it down and making sure that you have it institutionalized in some way.
Yeah, that's great. And it doesn't even have to just be your sales process. It could be your delivery process. It could be your customer service process. How do you handle a bad review? All of those things are processes. And when you write them down, you have to find out where the gaps are. And if she wouldn't have written it down fully, he wouldn't have been able to replicate that chili. And so, I'm a big process guy. I love the operations of the business. And so I didn't start my career that way. That was not who I was. Those of you who knew me from decades ago would laugh at that statement. But ultimately, what I realize is this is where success comes from, is repeatable processes. And that is true in sales. It's true in operations. It's true in accounting. It's true in all parts of our businesses, including merchandising, right? What are you picking for your floor? And how do you choose those beds? And what is important to you and your customer?
You've dropped so much value on us. This meal, I feel like we're at the meal stage. It's like time for the tasting. Like the tasting for me is like, what did we leave out? What did I not ask that you want to share with people?
I don't know. I think I've got most of it out. Really, at the core, we're a private company. We're family owned. We don't like to share a lot of stuff, but I've been asked a number of times to talk about it, and I offer this interesting lens from this hodgepodge of a career in the bedding industry, leaving the bedding industry for 10 years, and coming back and being a raving fan of City Mattress and the products that we produce, including PranaSleep. And so I'm just proud to be part of the team. I'm happy the way that Mark runs this company, Mark Schiller, not Mark Kinsley, although you'd probably do a great job too, Mark. It's a wonderful place to work. And I hope that I did an okay job of explaining some of the benefits of City Mattress and what our secret sauce is.
You crushed it. I mean, an amazing company around since 1964. Like I said, it's been on my radar for 10 years because I found out about PranaSleep and I was so impressed with a retail-minded company, a retail-first company, becoming an incredible product innovator. It's just such a rare combination. It's really impressive because I haven't seen it done. But
Yeah.
I have to end on one question. I'm
Okay.
asking probably on behalf of the fans. Have you had long hair all the way back to your firm days?
No. In fact, anyone who had worked for me back then would not even be able to come in with a day of stubble. So the longer hair and the beard came about in the entertainment industry. I was probably looking for a little street cred. Honestly, did not like getting my hair cut every 2 weeks either. But, the mattress firm and Art Van Furniture where I grew up, it was, high and tight, clean shaven, suit and tie every day. I have a hard time putting a tie on anymore, and I definitely have let the hair grow out. So, as it goes back, I got to kind of have some more to be able to wrap it around at some point. So I definitely had a different look 10 years ago when I started in this business, or really 30 years ago when I started in the business. And so it's definitely, I get some surprised looks from people who I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, they're like, Goodman. Oh my gosh. But hey, man, I think you got rock and roll street cred though. I mean,
nice.
It's a vibe.
I appreciate it. Thanks, bud.
Well, hey, this has been great. Thank you so much for helping us understand the City Mattress recipe, the cookbook, really, because it's a lot of different recipes that you can write, from an operations or marketing or training standpoint. Thanks for taking us through PranaSleep. I love the product. I'm going to have the Dharma Super Cush. Like, that's going to be in my life. I'm in the middle of a remodel right now.
Perfect time.
Bathroom, laundry room, powder room, and kitchen. Oh. I've been told it's called the powder room. So
that's nice that Tara let you have your own powder room.
Yeah, it's I just go in there and it's gonna have tiger wallpaper. So follow me on LinkedIn and I'll be sure to share some of the photos. And if you follow Jason on LinkedIn, maybe you'll post some throwback pics of the high and tight days.
That's a great idea. I'll be sure to do that. And look, if you're a retailer who does want to add PranaSleep or look at PranaSleep, we're happy to talk to you as well, right? We are pseudo exclusive, or we're certainly limited in our distribution. But I think that for the right retailer, we can be a big help, and we're happy to talk to you about it, and also share some more secret sauce recipes, so to speak.
What's the best way to get in touch with you?
My cell phone, that's my best way. My email is jason@pranasleep.com.
That's probably the easiest one. We'll start there. Jason@pranasleep.com.
Jason@pranasleep, PRANA sleep.com.
Okay.
And I'm on LinkedIn and, social media. I'm overly active, but I can be found.
Well, and as always, we do this a lot on the podcast. If anybody wants to get connected with us, you can go to thefam.com, text us on our podium number, any of those ways, and I'll get you in touch with Jason. But man, you crushed it today. Thank you so much for dropping wisdom and knowledge. Hey, congratulations. Shout out to all the people doing amazing work. Mark and Cece and Brett and the entire team at City Mattress and PranaSleep, doing great things out there. Huge shout out. You represent our industry so well, and you're bringing great sleep to people, man. That's what it's all about.
That's right. A couple more shout outs to Rick and Jared too. These are guys who've helped develop the product and the processes on the floor. And, I could spend the rest of the time just talking about the people, and it's awesome to be around it.
Also, she threw out the first pitch.
Helen, our head of operations. Yep. She nailed that pitch too. Yep.
Sorry, I forgot your name in this moment. I know who you are, Helen, and I loved our time together. And she threw out a banging first pitch at a baseball game.
Absolutely, yeah. It's nice working with people like them for sure. I am definitely in my happy spot, and just so thankful and grateful to be back in this wonderful industry. You forget how awesome the furniture and mattress industry really is until you leave it for a little while and you come back, and man, the amount of high fives and hugs that I got when I was in furniture market and since, it just warms my heart. I'm just happy to be home.
Well, welcome back. I mean, once you think you're out, we pull you back in. It is the Mattress Mafia.
That's right.
Hey, I'm going to put you on the spot. Will you come back and give me a breakdown, like a master class in what it was like to run the events and entertainment business in your former career, which is like, all right, we're going into a state fair. We're going to put up some mattresses and we're going to sell, because it's a wild ride. Will you come back and do a future pod with me?
I'll be happy to. And I'll even tell you about a world record that I set while doing it.
Let's go. All right. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this episode, and I sure did, share it with a friend, share it with your team, help them understand, what it's like to build your own cookbook and take inspiration from City Mattress and PranaSleep. Jason, thanks again for being on the show, man.
Thank you, Mark.